Hugh, yesterday was one of those stress-free Sundays, right?
Yes, it was.
We don't get many of those because usually the Eagles are playing. But yesterday, it wasn't a bye week. We got the win in the bank on Thursday night. So yesterday was a day that I got to sit back and just kind of observe what's going on in the NFL. And there was a lot of, obviously, big stuff with the Bills and Chiefs. Chiefs was their first game. Steelers-Ravens really good. But, Hugh, you know where my attention was at 1 o'clock. I had one eye on the standard. We like to use that word.
The standard.
Because the standard right now in the NFC.
You did a little scouting. I
did. I was looking at other people's grass.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Well, that grass.
On the off day.
Yeah, and that grass in Detroit is pristine. 52 points yesterday for the Detroit Lions.
What is this, college football?
It looked like it yesterday. I mean, that
Style
game.
Points?
That's what it felt. I felt like I was watching like the number one team in college football play some team from a small conference. And unfortunately, it was Doug, our old friend, and he got crushed. He might get fired today. But, Hugh, I was watching the game yesterday. And then, Doug's out. I mean, it's a matter.
It's just funny that when you watch a game like that, he's like, oh, yeah, buddy about to get fired today.
Oh, yeah, you felt it yesterday.
They quit on him yesterday.
The Lions put up 645 yards. They had the biggest yard differential in a game since 1979 in any game. Like, think about all the great NFL teams that have been around since the 70s between the Niners and the Cowboys and the Patriots and all these different dynasties, the biggest differential. And so, Hugh, I dove into it this morning and started to look at some of the numbers here, right? And, look, I think the Eagles have really become something good, right? Mm-hmm. And they're moving in the right direction. And the way I'd frame it right now is they are right underneath the Lions in the NFC. It's the Lions, and then it's the Eagles. And I don't put them in the same class. One team is the best team in the NFC, and I need a little more time before I say the Eagles are in the Lions class. Because, you know, we played the Jaguars, 3 weeks ago? And how was that game?
It was tight.
It was a little bit of a nail-biter.
Yeah.
A little bit nail-biter. I mean, it was 22-0, and then we blew the lead, and it became a nail-biter. So they did pour it on the Jaguars early, but I watched the same team, the Jaguars, play the Lions yesterday. It was 52-6. 7 straight drives with a touchdown. I love where the Eagles are going, and maybe by the end of January, I will sit here with you and I'll say these teams are even. I'm not there today as we get to the middle of November. Hugh, do you think the Eagles are in the Lions class? Because I'm not ready to say that.
I would say so, because I'm looking at their schedule, and granted, they've played more teams than we have with winning records. But I think that there's something to be said about playing with a lot of confidence right now, and I think that's what the Eagles are doing. Eagles defense, man, and I know my take is on life support, but I'm going to go ahead and say this. Eagles defense is playing with a lot of confidence right now. And if I was a betting man and these two teams line up against each other on Sunday, I would take the Eagles because of that defense. I know people, it's probably, oh, my God, people in the car clutching the pearls and everything like, oh, my God, this is the same guy that said a few weeks ago that defense was not a necessity. It was a luxury. It
is nice to have you back, by the way.
No, but I'm just saying, like right now.
Player. It's nice. This is good.
Like right now, the way that this team is playing, they're playing fast, and they're playing with a lot of confidence. That says a lot. They might not – you might look at that Detroit defense and say, not knowing that much about their front four outside of Hayden Hutchinson, they might be a little bit more talented. Mm-hmm. They might be a little bit more talented, but I like the way that our defense is playing with the cohesion that they're playing with. So I would take the Eagles in this situation.
So I actually was surprised looking at some of the numbers. I would say this, Hugh. The Eagles' defense, I do think is a little bit better than Detroit's. But Detroit's is good, too. I mean, I think they're 5th and 6th in points allowed per game.
Yeah, they're playing well. On the help with that, dropping 56 on the team.
Yeah, it does. They're both good defenses, Hugh. I'm with you on this side of it. I think the Eagles' defense with Fangio, with all the different players at all the different levels they have, probably a little bit better than the Detroit defense. So I'm with you on that. But can we talk about the other side of the ball? Because the side of the ball that you always said was actually the more important side. Can we go back to the offensive side of the ball?
Yes.
Okay. So right now, Detroit is averaging 33.5 points a game. The Eagles are at 25.9. It's about a touchdown difference per game. And you look at some of the things like, man, the Eagles run the ball great. Saquon's been amazing.
Yeah, and they got running back by committee.
Yeah, both have good offensive lines. There's one element of this that's the difference. Their passing game is better than ours.
More efficient.
It's better. I mean, it's better. It's better. So far this season, the Lions are 6th in passing yards per game. We are 22nd in the NFL in passing yards per game. And the stat that blows me away is the Eagles are 30th in the NFL in sack percentage. Jalen Hurts takes a lot of sacks,
man.
Goff is 13th, right? So they're above average. We're towards the bottom. Hugh, I think it comes down to that. Like, Are the Eagles, have they closed the gap on the Lions? Yeah. I mean, in the last 4 or 5 weeks, I think they've become clearly the best team in the NFC and the second best team. Eagles, number 2, Lions, number 1. But I still think there's a gap because of the passing game. Their passing game is just so much better
more
week
efficient.
to week. It's better.
It's more efficient. I'm just looking, because I'm looking at the numbers from last week, just the game you're just talking about. Jared Goff was 24 for 29.
Yeah.
The game we played in, Jalen was like 18 for 28.
What's the yardage?
Yeah, well, it's efficiency, too. It's a little bit of efficiency for 420.
Efficiency volume.
I see it.
The
18 for 28 is not great, by the way.
No, I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. The point I'm making is that Jared Goff is completing more of his passes right now, and that run after the catch is huge. But at the end of the day, and I know this might sound crazy me saying this, I would still take Jalen over Jared Goff right now.
Season?
Yes. Even though I would say, when I say Jalen, I mean Jalen and this offense collectively, because I think that they run well together.
Score 8 points per game less?
I have not figured that out yet, Joe.
I have. They're better.
I think that remains to be seen.
Well, but
I think that when you look at some of the teams that the Detroit Lions played against, that some of them they caught early. They
put 31 on the Vikings, didn't they?
Yeah, they caught them. Yeah, and they have a lot of momentum on their side. They're playing like a team on a mission. That 1-2 punch in the running game is phenomenal.
It's incredible. Look, Saquon's probably been the best running back. Him and Henry have been the best 2 individual running backs. But
that committee,
duo,
that running back by committee is legit.
I mean, it's basically the same thing per game. They just do it with 2 guys. We do it with 1 guy. 215-592-9494. All right, Hugh, you're not alone on this. So I'm curious today if everyone out there, what you believe. 215-592-9494. Are the Eagles in the same class as the Detroit Lions? And they might be by the end of January. I mean, Hugh, I think if we keep going on this trajectory, they can be.
And I think matchups matter, too. I mean, I know it sounds crazy to say, but some teams match up better individually than other teams.
Sure.
Like, you talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're 2-9 now. They played us pretty tough. I think that was because we allowed them to stay in the game longer than Detroit did. Detroit put their foot on their neck.
But we don't do that often enough.
Yeah. We need to develop more of a killer instinct. I think across the board, offensively, we're more talented.
I'm not sure.
And I know you're probably, and I know when I say that, you're probably thinking of the quarterback.
Well, no, everything. I think their tight end and receivers are better than ours.
Their tight ends. Oh, you talking about collectively?
Well, you throw. I think Laporta's better than Goddard.
I see what you're saying, because I'm looking at it more. You're looking at it more as the unit,
the whole,
and I'm looking at it more as individual.
Yep.
Now, I can't make a big argument for Laporta or Goddard in this situation. I have to probably go with Laporta because he's been more healthy. He's been healthier, I should say. I like our receivers, though. I like our receivers better.
But let me ask you a question. You like our quarterback better than our receivers. They're a better passing game. Why?
Because I think that their receivers, for the most part, when I look at the what's the stat sheet, the box score, and I see Amon-Ra St. Brown, 11 catches for 169 yards.
Yeah,
that to me screams yards after the catch.
Because the quarterback puts the ball in the right place.
Yeah, he does. I think that our quarterback, even though he hasn't been that guy, I think that he can be because I've seen it.
Yeah, when?
This week.
There it is. All right, 215-592-9494. Look, I think by the end, that was great spin.
He's an Eagle, man. What can I say?
All right,
what can I say?
By the end of the season, I think there's a real chance the Eagles climb into the same class as the Lions. I don't think they're in it right now. I think the class is Lions 1, then the next class is the Eagles in the NFC. 215-592-9494. But heck, I mean, maybe you're right on this. Damian Woody, he seemed to lean your way when it came to personnel. Let's hear Damian Woody talking about the Eagles after the last win.
Huge win, because I believe that the Philadelphia Eagles are now 2 games up in that division. So to be able to get a divisional game at your place against an up-and-coming Washington Commanders team, big win for the Philadelphia Eagles. And listen, as much as we've been talking about the Detroit Lions in the NFC, we better start talking about the Philadelphia Eagles, because you're talking about just personnel. Who has better personnel than the Philadelphia Eagles right now? No one. Nobody has better personnel, and they're playing some really good football.
Nobody, baby.
Yeah, then how can they score 8 points a game less? That is personnel stuff. Go do it on the field.
Yeah, I mean, that is something that has had me scratching my head for the last couple of weeks because, I came in here at the beginning of the season, and I thought that we were going to be the one that people were going to talk about scoring 30 points a game. Hasn't happened yet. But I feel in my spirit, Joe, that this is the weekend.
Because the Rams Sunday?
Yes, the Rams.
Oh, I
feel in my spirit that it's about to be damn the torpedoes, and they're just going to throw the ball all over the schoolyard.
It could be. All right, 215-592-9494. Kyle, what are you feeling on this? Eagles, Lions, obviously they're the two best right now record-wise in the NFC. Are they in the same class or are they in separate classes?
I think they're close, but I'm kind of with you in that I think I have to put the Eagles like one rung below, and it really does come down to the passing game. The Lions' passing game and their offense is what I thought our offense was going to look like. It's what our offense should look like. With these weapons, we should be the ones putting up 40 points, 50 points, like murdering teams. The Lions, I feel like, can win in more ways than we can. I almost go to the game last night with the Bengals being down a few touchdowns to the Chargers. Does that feel like a game that the Eagles can win or make a really tight game? Could Jalen Hurts throw the Eagles back into that game?
Probably not.
I'm not sure that he could. Jared Goff had a 5-interception game, but he also turns around and gives you the 400-yard, 4 passing touchdown performances like he does last night. Like, the Lions' offense has reached their full potential. I don't think the Eagles had. So, well, I think it's close, and I think the Eagles could give them a run. I'm not going same class just yet.
215-592-9494. All right, Hugh, I'm going to give you 2 ways the Eagles can catch the Lions. You ready for this?
I'm listening.
Between now and the last weekend of January, 2 ways. This is it. If they do one or both of these things, then I'll be with you. I'll say they're in the same class. The first one is the simple one. They need their passing game to be better. They need Jalen Hurts to be better. They need to take less sacks. They need to be a more I'll use your word, efficient passing game. They need their passing game to be better to beat Detroit. The second one, and this may mitigate the gap. They got to get home field. Get them out of that dome.
Yeah,
Get them
I agree,
here in cold weather in January.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Get Goff outside, and then I think the gap it'd be a coin flip. Like, then I think the Eagles could absolutely beat them if the game is here. So it's one of the two. It's one of two. It's either Jalen and the offense, and when I say Jalen, it's not just him. It's the whole
offense
unit.
as a totality.
But it's the passing game. He's obviously the conductor of the passing game. It goes to him. It goes to receivers, tight end, offensive line, Kellen Moore. They got to be better because to me, that's the gap right now between these two teams. 215-592-9494. Or they can get home field advantage and get the Lions out of that dome, and then all of a sudden it becomes a very winnable game against the team that has been the best in the NFL so far.